look out! Whirling, twirling, down. Lidsville is the grooviest, cause everybody who goes to Lidsville really flips his lip.
Well, there's a lot of symbolism in that video, isn't there? So I first want to thank all the old world researchers for their time. I don't necessarily endorse anybody. I put some stuff on the channels, mention some names, but I also don't subscribe to any one idea. I have an opinion. And regardless of whether you enjoy my videos or not, thanks for watching. You know, I wonder how many people haven't actually heard and listened to old early 70s records like Queen and Zeppelin and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Kansas, Uriah Heep, Rush, Black Sabbath. The list would go on forever, right? And people will get mad if I leave out Pink Floyd, so I won't. So the way I see it, these guys weren't necessarily great musicians or brilliant lyricists. See, they didn't have to be because they were writing non-fiction. There's a lot of truth drops on the vinyl of those days, but not the spin it backwards evil kind, the flip psychology kind. Some agenda wanted us to be distracted by looking for messages, spinning the vinyl backwards, when all we had to do is play them forwards for something that might have really existed. Brilliant? Yeah. Harmful? Probably. It might have been a little harmful because the actual message is spinning a record backwards as they hear the devil, right? And one might resonate with this, as I did, and many of us kids did, because the truth is stranger than fiction. And in most cases, it's more intriguing. As far as I'm concerned, the entities handing out these scripts and songs and making the entertainment industry for us hold some truth of the old world hostage. Hey, look, I'd sing a song about the ogre battle if I was there, right? So, moving on. I was going to do a video about this building here. But then, when I looked into where this was, I realized I was entering the Twilight Zone. More mysteries of the realm. What do we really know about this country? Very little, it seems. Especially over here on the opposite side of America, without a thought of it, except for maybe a vacation. But even the travel agencies, in general, agree that this is one of the least taken trips that they offer, even in South America. This is supposed to be, from the small amount that I skimmed over, you know, major Latin heritage, which I didn't know. Anyways, the Latin heritage thing, that, you know, that's how it's marketed to North America. So I found this whole book about it, and I want to give the official narrative as to where all these buildings came from a chance. It'll be fun to talk about this futuristic country of our past. So on we move to this video. So this is a New Earth channel, and you could go over there and watch the unedited version of this video, but I'm going to talk over this one. In my opinion, alchemy has been the magic that's missing from our current existence. The very wind we stand in is half of the potion for the magic, coupled with the old water alchemy technology that's been lost to us and basically taken away and torn apart. Then take all the minerals that the earth is literally made up of, and there's no doubt in my mind that some of the first wizards were farmers. And that's how simple alchemy can be, all the way up to advanced personal healing devices, right? The act of alchemy isn't an ancient art for the wizards. It's disguised by other terms and turned into spells. Or the spelling of fictional terms promotes hypnotism. See, like the language of legalese? This cup here is another way of hiding old world alchemy by tying it into some spaceship accident in Tunguska. The whole alien angle is just to keep us off the scent of how recent our past really is, or how recent it was that it was being replaced. You know, by fires, wars, earthquake, meteors, plane crashes, exploding ammunition depots, submarine attacks, and of course terrorism. The real question for me is, why did they blow this area up? Ever since my UFO study days, Tunguska never made sense as a UFO story, and I never really believed that it was. So here might be some evidence of why I had that feeling or intuition. If this cup survived the controllers' attempts to shut the public out of their operations, if you will, then surely other things from this area survived as well. This cup, in my opinion, is not unusual. It's just unknown tech to the public. Nothing new to the entities who command the destruction of certain areas, and there's plenty of those commands. They're a regular practice. They don't want full-blown knowledge of alchemy in our hands because if we had it, they couldn't profit off selling it to us, right? It makes sense. Everything is so simple. And I think it could be dangerous. I think maybe you need to be cultivated at the beginning of your life to be able to deal with alchemy. Look, I do a lot of research, right? So the thing that I notice is the children in the old world art always have a musical device. I think it's because they were cultured with alchemy on a very controllable scale, like play your flute to the flowers, or play your harp to the water, or vibrate a rhythm to the luminaries. In this way, they learn to respect the power of the alchemical realm by seeing the results of their creation on a very small scale. Magic, right? Nah, just a lost art for us, I think. Now, I have a feeling that some old paintings are really alchemical art, and not just simply pigment-covered canvases by great artists. Of course they're great artists. Great painters? Maybe not exactly, because we might not be getting the true story about this. I mentioned the alchemical water thing. If you never heard of star forts, that's something you could check out. Star forts are fascinating. There are theories on how moving water, sound, and/or vibration used in tandem would produce alchemical effects for the environment and the life around it. Maybe the pyramids were built on the same principle. So I was going to do a whole long video about St. John the Baptist, but if you want to know his story, you can visit this wonderful channel. She does a better job than I could. To the myth of our patron saint. What I do want to get right to is this. Let's get to this guy's remains. He got his head chopped off in like 20 AD. And years later, nobody knows when, but John told two monks in a dream to go to Jerusalem and grab his head because Constantine's family was restoring holy places. Whatever that means, right? Then some guy came along and had a vision of John who told him to steal his head from the monks and run away with it. So he did. So then some other people had a dream and they went and grabbed it. You know, this story is about a skull in a bag, if you can believe it, you know, getting stolen around Jerusalem and passing hands. And I mean, it's just mysteries of the realm. And then the churches, they started spy missions over it. It's claimed that it survived the French War. All of this from 452 to 1793. Of course, they're still pretending that they're finding fragments of this guy's skull to this very day. I thought they found it encased in this thing. This is just ridiculous, really. The obvious question for me is which of these dynasties that this thing passed through had the tech to encase this thing? It's never mentioned. Did the first find of this thing look like this in 400 or so? If this story is even 1% true, then the folks who encased this thing deserve to be credited to the longevity of the materials made. In which time frame of this realm had the tools to make these materials that last so long? Of course, that's a bigger question because the materials could be there if someone had the tools, but they gotta have the tools and the know-how and I mean, when you're building something, the whole idea of it starts from way back to the planning stage. Forget about what they say this thing is and look at what it is. It just doesn't add up, right? And neither does this supposed St. John's arm. Again, what are we looking at here? 3PO? What's going on? Is this biotech, weapon, armor, jewelry, costumes, artificial limbs, robots, talus? This arm thing never came up in all the stories I've read, including this video that I played at the beginning. Mysteries of the realm.